Hey guys, I'm kind of bundled up in my apartment here, but I wanted to drop in with church people um, to touch base with regard to what's going on. I was going to write down some questions. People had been posing questions to me, and both over the internet and in person on the telephone and so forth. And I wanted to write some of those down, but I neglected to do so, so I'm just going to embark on this discussion in any event. But I did have one question the other day, and I admired the person for asking, because it was presented to me in a very, I don't know what the term is, straightforward manner. And I believe he was sincere. Is Mother, actually, he asked, is Elizabeth Clare Prophet the highest master? Is she the top banana? Is she the most powerful force in the Great White Brotherhood? And my belief is that Elizabeth Clare Prophet was God's messenger, and that she will return to the podium. And so I don't look for, this, the way he phrased it, it wasn't really about this messengerial succession. We can have that discussion. I think it's important to have that discussion, and I know that the Pearls recently contained information about the messengerial succession, and I have certain beliefs and opinions about holy orders additionally. But my belief is that Mother will eventually be back on the podium, and well, how do we return Mother to her proper place is a practical question, I suppose, in many respects. But I guess his question was, well, is it really Elizabeth Clare Prophet is the top of this ladder of saints and bodhisattvas and so forth? People within Church Universal and Triumphant included among those teachers and people, and I believe that she is. Mother is considered to be an ascended master now, and recently the Summit Lighthouse came out and said that Mother will eventually be considered to be an embodiment of Goddess Meru, and I believe that is absolutely accurate. That's a perfect interpretation, I believe, of that change in hierarchy. If Mother leaves embodiment, who is it that she is? Well, she is Ascended Master, Lady Master Guru Ma, or we just call her Guru Ma. But I do believe as well that she is an embodiment of Goddess Meru. One of the reasons that I believe that that's true is that Goddess Meru is a Manu. God and Goddess Meru were Manus, which means that they are they're the progenitors, I suppose is the correct word, of a root race. And I will talk and teach more about that once I get to the ranch. That's going to require some work. But it's very important information. So I do support that information. Before that announcement was made at the Summit Lighthouse, I received information from a special dispensation that is part of what I refer to as the Blue Lotus dispensation, and I associate it with John the Beloved and John the Beloved's etheric temple over Arizona. Now, this information is not exterior to the dispensation of Elizabeth Clare Prophet, but it does work as an adjunct to that. And in my own prayer work, the Masters have said, well, we really want to know, and we would like you to chronicle, Band of Holy Orders, the information that is the official information, the official doctrine and sutras, I believe is the term for it, of Church Universal and Triumphant. And we'd also like to be able to compare the new information to that official information. And knowing, as I do, that people really guard Mother Mother's influence very closely, and I'm one of those people. I think that it's important that we chronicle as many of those beliefs and teachings as possible, but also that we look at what's emerging through what is known as progressive revelation. The hierarchy didn't stop changing because Mother stopped, being able to deliver announcements of those changes and so forth. In any event, Mother as Goddess Meru, I would really like to shake the hand of the person who came up with that one, or who uncovered that. That I was so impressed with that. But I do want to state that I also believe that my information is valid, and I haven't really discussed it with other church officials, but I believe that Mother is now Mother Regent of Church Universal and Triumphant, replacing, and I've stated this in another video, but I believe that she has replaced Clara Louise, and that Clara Louise has moved to an office that has been disclosed to me through the Masters as Office of the World. How did they put it? Office of the Youth of the World, which is in keeping with what Clara Louise was all about, truly, and is actually a new office. And this is an announcement that was made through TSL Holy Orders. How do we integrate that information with what's going on at the ranch? Well, that's a very good question, and I do believe that information is accurate. And I've thought at times, well, wouldn't it be interesting, since it's cumbersome to communicate with the ranch, as someone who is way east in the United States and has his own ashram. Now, I don't want to be seen as separate from TSL at all, but sometimes I think, well, maybe there should be TSL, the Eastern Rite, or, the Orthodox Church is, the Russian Orthodox Church is similar to the Coptic Church, which is similar to the other non-Russian Orthodox branches, but each is sort of a rite unto itself. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be? It might be interesting to have the Summit Lighthouse and then the Summit Lighthouse Eastern Rite. I don't know, but I believe that yes, Goddess Meru is dead on, but I also believe that Mother is Mother Regent, having replaced Clara Louise, and that Clara Louise is now at the Office of the Youth of the World. But then moving forward, when we talk about who's going to believe what, I think it's important that it become integrated. But I think that it's correct, and I think that it's perfectly valid to be able to say both now. So I wanted to make that clarification. But the real question is, and so that's interesting to us at TSL and CUT, what goes on in hierarchy and how all of that changes. But the real question for this particular gentleman, this friend of mine, I guess it was he was very earnest in his approach to me. He wanted to know if Mother was the most powerful person in hierarchy, really. And I believe that I think the way to describe it is that she's the most powerful incarnation of well, she was the messenger, so she was a prophet and embodiment on the planet. And I've heard Aaron Prophet say she was kind of like an old Testament prophet to CUT people, and that's a good way to describe her as well. But to me, when I look at Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and again, this is another inner temple teaching that I will disclose, along with the Manu revelation, the ancillary component of this discussion has to do with with all the gurus in the world who are legitimate, valid spiritual teachers, can it really be said that they're all equal at an equal phase of enlightenment? That's one question. Second question is, is the attainment chronological? In other words, if the Dalai Lama is, truly very holy, very wise, very enlightened, and has a great deal of attainment, does he have the same attainment as Yogi Raj Sadgurunath Siddhanath, as Mother, as Nityananda, all sorts of other holy people, and then Damai Ma? Were they all at the same level of mastery? And I don't believe that they were. And I want to describe, and I believe that Mother was special and unique in that entire configuration, and that entire pantheon of great gurus. And I want to explain that as well. I want to explain the alchemy within a germane context and within an analysis of the Christological underpinnings of her guruship, so that people understand what she was all about, because it informs the revelation of what our Sangha, our church, is about. And so that's another discussion, an important discussion to have. But a great question. And also, as a follow-up to that question, was who's top dog, El Morya, Guru Ma, Kuthumi, and so forth. To the best of my knowledge, nobody ever says, oh, Kuthumi has it all over, the goddess of light, or Kuthumi, or that there's any sort of differentiation. And I don't believe that. I think that the Ascended Masters, generally put, are all equally influential and powerful in hierarchy. But in order to understand attainment, it's important to refer back to teachings that have revealed how it is that the masters became masters, and so forth. And a lot of that has to do with the Christ principle, and also with the person of Jesus. The personage of Jesus as well. And I want to teach about that additionally. Again, when I make it to the ranch, when I find the funding to make it to the ranch. And I don't know. I mean, church coffers and investments. I mean, it'd be a fantastic investment to move me to the ranch, and I highly recommend it. I think it's time, and I think, it's time theologically, and it's time for the. I don't know. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be to the church's economic and spiritual, theological benefit to relocate me to the ranch. I can't do it because I've been fighting, wrongdoing by way of these lawsuits that are being obstructed, in Maine, and it's unsafe for me. To me, it's unfair for me to be trapped here. It's unfair to me personally, obviously. I'm not blaming the church, but it's unfair. It's remediable by the church, in my view. How much money could it possibly take to move me out there? So, with these big awards pending, it seems that, I'd be able to invest in other chelas and in theological development at the church, and would want that to be part of the arrangement. It's a question of getting a lawyer to look at a few lawsuits and so forth. So that's a practical hurdle, I suppose. But yeah, Mother as Goddess Meru, that's just such good theological work. When I read that, I was like, oh wow, that's someone is just really paying attention, and I appreciated it. So I wanted to mention that. And I've also heard Lipo, which I think he is underutilized. Well, in his teaching, he talks about Alpha and Omega, and of course, Mother talks about Alpha and Omega descending as cloven tongues. Well, Alpha and Omega are basically the masculine and feminine components of Godhead, and so, on one level, you have Guru Ma, King Arthur, Saint Francis, all these ascended masters, and then beyond them, it's easy to think of, the greater overarching God, and Alpha and Omega really are that overarching God. And Lipo is saying, well, in Indian and Hindu thought and so forth, there's always sort of like a God beyond this particular sphere, and there are just progressively more and more spheres, and Judaic mystics talk about Ein Sof and the 33 levels of heaven and so on. Right, Alpha and Omega, just way out there. That's concluding. Guru Ma, I do believe, was the top messenger. And in my conversation with my friend, she's not just my guru. She is, to me, my guru. But my opinion, my studied opinion, is that she's also the guru on the planet. I do believe that, and I can back it up. I think that her messengership was unique. But I will discuss that, and with any luck, teach about that additionally down the line. I'm just waiting for other questions. I hear someone talking about that's an interesting question. The woman in, I think it's the New Testament. Well, obviously it's the New Testament. It's Jesus. It's about Jesus. A woman approached Jesus and touched his robe, and I don't know what her name is, and I don't think that they reveal her name in the Bible either. But to the best of my knowledge, it's because she was bleeding. She had a disease where she just hemorrhaged all the time, and was cured. I believe that. I believe that for what that's worth. I believe that was pointed out in the Bible, or that was specified in the Bible, and she was cured because she had faith and bent and touched Jesus' robe and did it behind his back, didn't announce it to him, but thought it to herself, and he heard her. He heard her think and heard the intent and the faith, and announced it when he discovered it. And said, I think that's when he said, "Your faith has made you well," or one of the times that he said that. I can't quite read that from here. I'm sorry. People are trying to say something, but I'm not quite sure. Can't quite key in. Yeah, I know. I was going to do a version of the rosary, and I never got around to it. And it's going to be, when I get to doing it, I'm a member of the confraternity, and I want to be able to go into churches, especially Catholic churches, when they say, well, we need some sort of theological support, or can someone please do the rosary? I want to be able to get up there and do it. Of course, I think it's great to be Catholic, and I feel that I should be able to talk about my faith in the Catholic Church. It walks a fine line, I suppose, in some respects. You're not supposed to stray too far from the theological parameters, but you're entitled to have your own opinion, to the best of my knowledge, And I practice CUT, but I'm adherent enough, I feel, to be in a confraternity and to share the apostolic works, And I don't think anybody's asking me to leave, so I haven't yet. And I received all sacraments up to confirmation. When I was 15, I stopped. I decided that I would not be confirmed. But interestingly, St. Francis was going to be my confirmation saint, and as it turned out, I ended up choosing Kuthumi as my guru when I entered CUT. So I'm very grateful to still be close to Christian mysticism.